Excuse me. Your curtain. Please allow me to help.
Help? From you?
I didn't mean to offend. I just thought you should know that
That I should know what? That some privileged white guy thinks his opinion matters? Get over your entitlement. I'm not some damsel in distress waiting for you to ride in on your high horse.
It's the most emotional experience that a person can go through to know that what they're working on is something that has reached a generation of people.
Oh my God.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business. Thanks.
You know, I don't need your business. You know what? Maybe Disney does. Maybe you're a tool, you're a pawn in this film. You didn't write it. You didn't direct it. You have nothing to do with the creation of Snow White.
Right.
You should shut up and do the job.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
Yeah.
Weird.
I would highly advise that you boycott this film, no matter how much your children love Snow White.
They're remaking the movie. They just got rid of the dwarfs. Okay,
but what do they call them?
Why would they get rid of the
them
dwarves, though?
Magical creatures.
But they have one token dwarf amongst these magical creatures. You actually just went backwards. You actually just erased the dwarfism side of it. The disability, like we're a disability group. You just erased that whole image. The argument should have been from Peter Dinklage. There's power of being on TV. There's power of television. And to put 7 people with dwarfism on camera in a major Disney movie, there's still power there. If the story is offensive, change the story. Don't change the characters.
This is no ordinary apple, my dear. It's a magic wishing apple. A wishing apple? You offer it to me freely. In place of the patriarchy, you would have a queen! Not white, but diverse, inclusive, and equitable! I will become the leader I know I can be! All shall love me and despair!
Oh, what has she done to you? Fear not. First love's kiss can break any curse.
I'm gonna stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess. I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed on.
Oh, really? Are you having trouble paying your bills, Rachel? Did Steven Spielberg not pay you for your role in West Side Story? Did Disney fail to give you a healthy paycheck for, like, Cry Me a River? She's just exactly everything that we can't stand.
I can also be having the greatest time and simultaneously wishing people would stop sending me death threats.
I know this point has been made, but this truly is the worst casting maybe in the history of the film industry.
There's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion. But the reality is she's just not stable, like the majority of people in Hollywood. They're just not stable human beings.
Big mouth Rachel Zegler just got hit with another major embarrassment, this time from The Simpsons. In their next episode, The Simpsons are going straight for the throat with a savage parody of Rachel and her Snow White disaster. The fake movie inside the episode, it's called Snow Woke, the reimagining. And yes, it's exactly what you think it is. A total mockery of Disney's failed attempt to modernize a classic. Rachel Zegler is already drowning in bad headlines, fan hate, and box office shame.
It got destroyed at the box office. Here's the box office numbers. The Minecraft movie made $60 million on Saturday. Snow White made $2.
Minecraft. Yes, a movie about pixelated blocks, completely crushed Rachel Zegler's Snow White and left Disney humiliated. The studio never expected that casting Rachel would end up ruining one of their most iconic fairy tales. People never heard of her until she started running her mouth.
And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
However, theaters were empty. People filmed themselves walking into showings where they were literally the only ones there.
I am walking into Snow White, 2 p.m., now seating. Let's see how empty it is. I hope it's off the book we go. I hope. Sound like I hear a couple of people. tell you.
And now, The Simpsons are turning her into a joke on national TV. A joke that everyone's going to see. Sources close to Rachel say she's furious. She's not laughing, not even close. The cartoon paints her as a tone-deaf, self-obsessed girl boss who's completely out of touch with reality. And let's be honest, a lot of people agree. And as if things couldn't get worse, while The Simpsons are busy roasting Rachel Zegler, she's trying to run from the disaster, escaping the total failure of Snow White.
What would you say to those who are just kind of overly critiquing the film at this point? You've worked so hard on it.
I'm getting on across the block here. Yeah, hold on.
All right.
Rachel Zegler has suddenly gone completely silent, just days after Disney reportedly asked her to pay up for the total disaster that was Snow White. The actress, who's been at the center of massive controversy, has now vanished from the spotlight. No interviews, no social media, nothing.
The producers, far left-wing activists in Hollywood, are turning on her, and Disney has canceled all of Rachel Zegler's appearances on their media platforms. Kind of tough.
People are like, oh wow, Snow White flopped. Who is surprised? You cast arguably the least genuine, most out of touch, and disliked person in her industry, and her industry is Hollywood. And the bad guy is Gal Gadot.
This is exactly what critics have been saying for months. And now, Rachel Zegler, already drowning in bad press, is getting dragged by The Simpsons, one of the most legendary shows on TV. Let's be real, this might be her most embarrassing moment yet.
Well, we all basically knew that Snow White was going to be a massive failure at the box office because of Rachel Zegler's controversial statements.
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
To understand how we got here, you have to rewind to what was once a Cinderella story in the making. Rachel Zegler was Hollywood's next breakout star. After her critically acclaimed performance in West Side Story, she was cast as the lead in Disney's live-action Snow White. It should have been her biggest moment. But almost as soon as the project was announced, things started spiraling. Not from the movie itself, but from the discourse surrounding it. Rachel's interviews quickly became the center of attention.
Rachel Zegler just keeps making things worse with the Walt Disney Company. The more that she tries to defend this movie, the more that she tries to spew her agenda onto the general public, it's only making matters worse. Not just for Bob Iger, but for whatever is left of the image of Disney as a whole.
Behind the scenes, you guys know as well as I do that those executives like Spielberg are looking at that saying, Rachel Zegler can F right off.
Rather than focusing on the legacy of the character or her excitement to take on such a beloved role, her sound bites leaned heavily into criticism of the original film. In one now viral clip, she said the prince in the 1937 cartoon literally stalks her, and that the story was weird and outdated. The internet exploded.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Yeah.
Weird.
For many fans, it wasn't just a take. It felt like she was mocking the very foundation of the classic she was being paid to represent.
I just want to tell you guys about a incredible movie that just came out, Snow White. Wow. I just got to tell you, best movie I've seen in years, and there have been some really, really good films lately. Madam Web, Rebel Moon Part 1, that movie, that transgender one with the Mexican drug lord. But Snow White blows them all away. Chat, this movie has everything. Horrifying, CGI, little people, check. A feminist princess who don't need no man, double check. Diddy dance party at the end, double Diddy check. All this to say, go see Snow White right now. The new one. Not that old stupid one where the princess gets saved by some good, upstanding guy.
The backlash kept growing, especially as more interview clips popped up online. Some people called her bold and modern, but to most, Snow White came off as arrogant, disrespectful, and completely out of touch.
Did the dwarfs make it or no?
Well, the CGI dwarfs did. Of course, that goes back to the original controversy where Peter Dinklage, a very talented little person actor, said, why are we doing that? We've hired a Latina actress to be Snow White. That's progressive. But you're going to hire little people to play the dwarfs? That just seems like a step backwards. And then, of course, Disney instantly buckled and said, okay, we're going to add magical creatures.
Then they got even crazier and they decided that the dwarves in Snow White weren't woke enough, okay?
You're replacing jobs that people could have as little people. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, it's for dwarfs. You know?
The phrase girl boss Snow White started trending online, and not in a good way. Suddenly, everything Rachel said was being picked apart. Every quote, every red carpet interview, every public appearance sparked more backlash. Instead of excitement, fans felt like the magic of Snow White was disappearing right in front of them. But one moment made things even worse. Her awkward dynamic with co-star Gal Gadot during press events and awards shows. People couldn't help but notice the strange body language between them. And at the Oscars, it was impossible to ignore.
They've been in a full meltdown about this girl for a couple of years now, and how they had her tweet out like a little, "Yay, Snow White, can't wait, so excited, I love to play her." And she did it and got like millions of views, and they were like, "Good job, Rachel." And then she, like minutes later, followed it up with, "And never forget, free Palestine."
And isn't her co-star Jewish?
Yes, Gal Gadot, whatever.
I mean, what?
Yeah.
Wow.
They tried, they flew an executive, one of the producers, out to go visit personally with Rachel Zegler to say, "Could you please take that down? Because we understand you can have your political views, but those aren't really helpful while you're trying to build an audience for a movie. Maybe you could save them for like your diary and your friends, but like maybe not, maybe just take the tweet down." And she wouldn't.
But my name is Gal, and I'm Jewish. And we have had enough of Jew hatred.
Please welcome Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot.
Visual effects push the boundaries of what we see on screen.
Their work makes the impossible seem possible.
With breathtaking ambition, they create magic that wraps its arms around our wildest imaginations.
Here are the nominees for Best Visual Effects.
While they presented together on stage, fans observed zero chemistry and very little interaction. Rumors swirled that Gal had chosen to distance herself from the controversy, and that behind the scenes, things weren't exactly friendly. As all this was unfolding, Disney remained unusually quiet. No major course corrections, no adjusted messaging, just business as usual. But the film itself wasn't connecting with audiences.
Zegler would be a miscast in that sense. Instead, she gets her name from surviving a snowstorm.
That audiences walk away from this film with an understanding of the true meaning of fairness, of what it means to be fair in this world. There is a message that's been carried on for almost 90 years now from the original animated classic. That is, fairness is what is within. Fairness is to do with your heart, the way you treat the people around you. And it has nothing to do with what you look like. And that's the misunderstanding between Snow White and the Evil Queen. I think it's such an important message, and the way that Disney has elevated it and brought it to this new audience is very special.
Snow White hit theaters with Disney's full marketing machine behind it, yet ticket sales were flat. Name recognition couldn't save it, and the movie quickly became one of the studio's most divisive remakes.
Alex, what has been the reaction to Disney's latest expensive own goal?
Well, the reaction has been absolutely horrible. It is the worst box office from a Disney live action remake that they've ever done.
I mean, they're projected to lose between $200 and $400 million on this.
That flop is now locked into pop culture thanks to a brutal Simpsons parody. Classic Springfield sarcasm that slices straight to the bone. What should have been Rachel Zegler's breakout moment turned into a case study in how a bold rebrand can spiral into overreach. Whether you agreed with her modern spin or hated it, the storm around this film made sure her Snow White will be remembered for all the wrong reasons.
I truly do believe that. There's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion, but the reality is she's just not stable.
Rachel is literally the star of a Disney movie, and she acts like she's some sort of victim, and that's the sort of mentality that is just poisoning people's minds. Like, she acts like her life is so bad.
When the buzz died down, the numbers told the story. The box office haul was weak, and the IMDb score collapsed to 1.6, one of Disney's worst ever. Viewers didn't just skip the film, they celebrated its crash. flooding social media with memes and Reddit threads titled, "How Not to Market a Movie." Then, things got weirder. A fake OnlyFans account using an AI image of Rachel went viral in hours. It was phony, yet thousands believed it. Proof her public image had slipped so far that even an absurd rumor felt plausible.
The movie is doing catastrophically. They spent $300 million and it currently has a 2.2 out of 10 rating on IMDb.
The movie has a major identity crisis.
This is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
It's got extra musical numbers that are incredibly unnecessary that really add to that runtime. And let me go ahead and let you know that they're absolutely f***ing atrocious.
Disney deleted Someday My Prince Will Come and made a modernized feminist alternative.
I sat through the whole thing. This was really bad. It was extremely leftist on every political dimension. Racial politics, sexual politics, class politics, regime politics. Its narrative was cowardly. It was just awful.
Hollywood noticed. Casting calls that once highlighted her name quietly moved on. Projects rumored to star her stalled or recast. In a single year, she fell from Disney's next big thing to a brand risk. Her very public breakup with actor Josh Andres Rivera added fresh headlines, feeding the narrative of a young star unraveling under pressure. And just as the dust began to settle, The Simpsons struck. Their episode, Snow Woke the Reimagining, features Rachel Z, who bans princes, lectures villagers, and watches her movie bomb in an empty theater before melting down on Krusty the Clown's show. When Springfield turns you into a punchline, you've crossed from celebrity to spectacle. There's still time for a comeback. Hollywood loves a redemption arc, but the climb is steep. Box office disaster, public backlash, and studio silence have cracked Rachel's image wide open. Now the world is watching to see whether she can glue the pieces back together or if that yellow-skinned satire just wrote the final line of her fairy tale.